Hello, hello. Happy Sunday. And I'm holding my breath to see if my sound is working this week. I have got myself new AirPods, which I've not had before. So please, if you're here, tell me in the comments if my sound is coming through. That would be amazing. Um, yeah, after last week, having to quickly do a video for you and upload it since it wouldn't work. But these things happen, right? So this week, as long as I know I've got sound, I will continue to talk about hair, which is why my hair looks the way it does tonight, for a very real reason to show you very shortly. So please, I know there's a delay, so I will hang in there and hopefully somebody can give me a thumbs up or a, yep, we can hear you or something like that would be amazing. So far, I think I've got a thumbs up. So anyone willing to say yes in the comments, you can hear me, that would be awesome. But it looks like with a thumbs up, I'm good to go. So I'm going to charge on ahead. All right, let's talk about hair. Now, hair is a funny thing, right? All sorts of reasons as to why we can have hair fall. Heaps of reasons. There's not any one particular reason. So we can have autoimmune disease. I have that. I have Hashimoto's. It could be low thyroid. I have that. It can be stress. I have had that. It could be low iron. It can be blood sugar issues. I've got my little list over here. It could be genetics. It could be medication side effects. It can be under eating, under nutrients, so not enough nutrients. I've had weight loss surgery, so it could be any of those things. It could be a mixture of all of those things. Um, however, however, I had a big aha moment in the last little while, and I tested it. Well, I'm not testing it on purpose. I'm testing it for a very good reason. And it's proving itself to be the reason why I was losing hair. I say was because it's not too bad now. All right. Now, and the reason I didn't use any of my products was so that you could see how much it's regrowing, right? So my hair looks fuzzy. Yes, here in Bangkok, it's humid weather, but I have to normally stick all this down. But I didn't today because I wanted you to see that this is all regrowth. Okay. This is what I've been doing, and this is what happened. So last September, moved to sunny Bangkok, and one would assume you get plenty of sun here and all the rest of it. Um, but you spend a lot of time indoors. Anywho, the stress of moving to a different country. I then had surgery in December, which included a like face stuff and around the back here. And so it wasn't long after that my hair just started dropping out. I'd like do this, and like every time I'd run my hand through my hair would come out. Like you would see it everywhere, all over the floor, in the vacuum, everywhere you looked, there was hair. And I'm thinking, wow, when I had my weight loss surgery, which is generally when people lose the most hair, I didn't really lose any hair at all. Like it was just normal. So, and that was nearly 4 years ago. So I found it really interesting that all of a sudden, since moving here and having the face work done and the lower body lift, I thought it was down to that. I thought, oh, wow, that really stressed my body out doing all of that. I was confused. That's okay. But then I came across a couple of articles about a supplement that I had been using back in Australia, but because you stop taking your supplements 2 weeks before surgery, and then because we're human, it takes us a little while to get back into the rhythm of things after surgery, I hadn't gone back to it yet. Vitamin D, right? Specifically for me, D3 and K2. Now, I've been taking this for a few years now because a carnivore doctor that I went to in Perth said if you're going to be carnivore or even high keto, you need to be taking D3 and K2 for the rest of your life, basically. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And I was taking a bioceuticals one like this, which is a spray on olive oil. this isn't it. This is B12. I thought I had a spare one and I didn't. And so I had to rush out to the shops when I knew I'd run out and find. And here in Bangkok, everything's got calcium in it. And I don't want one with calcium in it. I actually wanted just plain K2 and D3, and I found it luckily. Anyway, back to the story. I went back on this, went back to the vitamin D when I'd read a few things about it in my research, and my hair stopped falling out. Right? It was night and day. What I had been doing was brushing my hair and, like, pulling it out of my brush and throwing it into the bathtub, and so at the end of the day, I could see how much hair I had accumulated that day. I was tracking it, and I was like it was gobsmacking how much hair was coming out. All of a sudden, literally within 3 or 4 days of going back to vitamin D, hardly any hair was coming out of the brush. I was like, "Oh, wow." So anyway, so for the last couple of months, I've been back on the vitamin D, and, like, because I know myself, unless I have it on my desk, right? I have to keep these things on my desk or I don't take them, don't use them, I forget. This is just the place I spend most of my time in my office. So if it's here, I will remember to take it. It doesn't matter how long you've been taking things for, you still need reminders, right? Anyway, yeah, my hair just stopped. It took about a week, I think, of being on it, and the hair just miraculously stopped falling out. A week ago, I stopped taking my supplements again on purpose, right? Because this Friday coming, I'm going in to hospital for my next round of surgeries, a breast lift and a side lift, which is the all the skin under here. So it sort of comes down here and just down to here. I assume I don't know, with the breast lift. I'm not having implants, just the breast lift. I don't care what it looks like. I just don't want it flat as a pancake anymore. Um, and yeah, so within a week, so that was a week ago that I stopped taking the vitamin D again. Sure enough, a couple of days ago, the hair starts falling out. Not as bad, and it'll probably take a couple of weeks for it to happen. Yes, very good product. Yes, I've run out of that one, so I'll have to order more, but that's okay. Um, so literally a couple of days ago, because we were in Penang this last week on our little visa trip, and I was brushing my hair and, like, I just noticed I did this and out comes some more hair, and I went, "Oh, the vitamin D." I'd forgotten again, right? Because we forget these things. Once we solve something, we forget about it. And, yeah, so today, even looking around the house today, I'm starting to see hair on the floor going, "Oh, no, the hair, here we go again." Um, so I will remember as soon as my surgery is over and I'm home to start taking it again this time, and I won't let it get out of control like it did because it's clearly all growing back now, which is why I've got all this. Um, so here's what I've discovered, and here's why vitamin D, go figure, was the missing link for me. Like, as I said, there's so many reasons behind it, but what I'm about to share with you is kind of relevant to thyroid, autoimmune, lipedema, like a lot of things that a lot of you have as well as me, right? So here's what I found when I did the research. I've got a little list. So all conditions that, so estrogen, cortisol, thyroid, so estrogen, lipedema, they all have the same hormonal kind of stuff going on. Now, 40 to 44% of lipedema women also have hypothyroidism. I'd already sort of discovered that in many studies. There's a thing in the scalp called lipedematus, 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 scalp phenomenon. I don't even know how to say that. But what it is a fat accumulation in the scalp, and it's to do with lipedema. And that itself can cause hair loss. Who knew, right? Um, but also, lipedema women are under a lot of stress, no matter who you are, because we've got this thing that we can't do much about. Nobody has an answer for us. Even if there is an answer like surgery, it can come back if you don't take care of yourself. So, of course, we're under this consistent stress, right? So, stress causes hair loss, right? Um, so I went on more of a hunt. And as I said, when I went on this hunt, I wasn't expecting it to be vitamin D as the missing link, right? But vitamin D receptors are found in hair follicles. Who knew? I didn't, right? So it plays a direct role in the hair cycle, the hair growth cycle. So a deficiency of vitamin D is rampant in lipedema women. It's also rampant in thyroid women. Now, one study found 85% of lipedema women have insufficient levels of vitamin D. Okay. So, and that's probably down to an indoor lifestyle because we hurt. We go outside, we're uncomfortable, it hurts to exercise, it hurts to move. So, we stay inside where the heating or the cooling is at its most comfortable so that we can be at our most comfortable. So, it makes sense that we're not getting as much vitamin D as the average person. When I first looked into this, I went, oh, no, no, but I'm living in Bangkok. I go out in the sun every afternoon, right? Here's the thing though. Um, you're wearing, I don't wear sunscreen, but you're wearing hats, you're covering up. I'm at the end of the day. The rest of the time, I'm always indoors. And if we go out, I've even got my own umbrella now, like the Thai people do that I carry in my bag for when it's both sunny and rainy. So apparently, Thai people, no matter how much sun they get, they're actually really high incidence of low vitamin D levels because everyone's always covering up. So I was like, rightio. And I hadn't been taking it. I had my bottle over on the thing, and I'd remember it every now and again being over in the kitchen, and then I'd sort of go through spits and spurts. But obviously, it's in the regularity that it makes a difference in your hair, right? So, the indoor lifestyle and higher body fat. So, lipedema fat, higher body fat. Um, D3, the vitamin D gets sequestered into the fat. So, we need more vitamin D than the average person that doesn't have lipedema to get even okay levels for us. So, that was interesting to find out. And post surgical stress, because I had the lower body lift in December and the face stuff. Obviously, I was under post surgical stress and all that kind of thing as well. So, between all those things put together, even though I never lost hair with my thyroid, I never lost hair after weight loss surgery, this mixture of no vitamin D, no sunshine, post surgical, I don't know, it just all came together at once and out it came. Right. So, what can we do about it? Well, like me, and I don't think it matters what kind you get. It does, but it doesn't. I always try and get, I didn't even check because this was the only one I could get here in Bangkok. I just grabbed it. It was literally the only one that was just these two ingredients. And it's written in Thai, so I don't know why I'm trying to read the back. Okay, this one, it's a bioceuticals one. This is actually B12 spray, but it's a bioceuticals brand this way, which you should be able to get in most pharmacies across, definitely in Australia, because that's where it's from. But try other countries wherever you are from. Um, this is on olive oil. Okay, so it's based on olive oil. Any supplement that I possibly can, I will get in liquid form, chewable form, anything that's better absorbed in our bodies because of weight loss surgery, because of all the things that I've got going on. I just don't. When it comes to tablets, I'm just like, yeah, you don't know how much of it's actually being absorbed. So I try and get the liquid version of anything. I have seen the liquid version of this or an Asian liquid version of this on Lazada, which is like Amazon here. Um, but I didn't want to wait a few days for it to be delivered, so I just went to the shops and got what I could get so that I could keep going because I didn't want to skip a beat once I realised what was going on. Um, so, and I've run out of this one already, but that's okay because yeah, I'm not taking it until after surgery. But I've got my husband onto it now too because also indoors, although he goes for a run early in the morning, so he probably gets more sun than I do, and then we go again in the afternoon. Vitamin D does so many different things in our body. Now, the other thing that we've got to take along with the D D3 and K2 is magnesium, because without magnesium, the vitamin D can't get into our cells and the receptors that we need it to be there, right? So it's a bit like thyroid disease, and you need all these cofactors to make everything to work together. But magnesium, think about it, that's our stress and sugar mineral. That's what we need when we're under stress and when we're having too much sugar roller coaster, which I went to Penang last week. So I'm going to say coffees were so ultra sweet. They were amazing. And Penang does this Penang coffee where the coffee beans used to be fried, deep fried in pork fat, which is fine for a carnivore, right? That was back in the day, and now they deep fry the beans before they process them in butter. It's the most amazing tasting coffee. So if you're ever in Penang in Malaysia, go for the Penang coffee. So we had quite a few Penang coffees and things like that. So blood sugars going up and down, magnesium. So I take my sodium electrolytes, which has magnesium in it. So if you're needing vitamin D, so here's what I reckon you should do. If you're here because you're having hair loss issues, then get yourself some D3 and K2. Make sure I can't see too many reasons why it would be contraindicated for most people, but check with your doctor. If you're taking other supplements and things like that, check with your naturopath, whoever, so that you're not wasting your money, right? You don't want to waste your money. And trial it, because literally for me, it was a week. It was a week between seeing how much was falling out and what I was pulling off and throwing into the bathtub to like hardly anything. So, and it's taken a week of being off it, and here it's coming back again. So, vitamin D is needed for the hair growth cycle, right? So that's the key. We need magnesium for the vitamin D to get into the receptors for it to work. So, and we need vitamin K, and that's why you've got to get K2 and D3 this way, right? Because vitamin D takes the calcium, and vitamin K puts it into the cells into the bones where it needs to be, right? So vitamin D gathers up. This is why it's in all those osteoporosis tablets, right? But we don't want calcium. I won't get into that. That's a whole other thing. All right. We just want those two. So the vitamin D grabs all the calcium, the vitamin K puts it into the bones where it belongs, because there's no point in calcium running around in your blood, because that's what puts down deposits here, there, and everywhere. And you get stones, different areas, right? So we don't want that. So we want the vitamin D to be where it needs to be in the bones, and to give us the things that we need in our receptors and away from the soft tissues and into where it's got to be. Okay, so I would get that. And if you're not taking any kind of magnesium, as I said, I've got magnesium in the sodium electrolytes that I take. Um, so I'm gonna, like, for now, I'm gonna say that's enough for me until I notice otherwise. Uh, but it probably wouldn't hurt every now and again to get a bottle of magnesium, take it for the bottle, and then let it go for a while. And this is how I've always approached supplements, to be honest. Even though I've had weight loss surgery and they say, oh, you'll be on supplements for life. I'm like, we'll see how I feel, right? I don't just necessarily take something ad infinitum just to see how, because I've been told that's what I should be doing, right? I'm always very like, yeah, but how do I feel? How does my body feel? How am I coping? How's my energy levels? Are my emotions stable? Magnesium. If you're crying at the drop of a hat, magnesium for you. All right. Doesn't matter how hard or emotional your life is, and you go, oh yeah, that's why I'm crying a lot. No, it's blood sugars going like this. All right, it's having a day of eating really cleanly, and then a day of eating all the stuff that we shouldn't, and then a day of eating cleanly, and a day you're going like this, and that will make you very emotional and very teary. All right, doesn't matter what your age. Okay, so in that case, if you're teary, go and get some magnesium, take it to the bottle, be very aware of like taking down your moods while you're taking it and then go off it again and see how you feel afterwards. Because you might have a lifestyle that's very high in stress because stress depletes our magnesium as well as our vitamin D. Um, so we need to be aware of, and some people don't think, oh, no, my life's not that stressful. It's, and we get used to it. We get used to our new normal of what we consider stressful, and we're like, "Oh, no, 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 I'm containing it. I'm good. I've stuffed it down deep inside. I'm good to go." All right, but yeah, it doesn't take much to let it all out, right? So, magnesium, vitamin D, hair. And I've been trying everything since I got here because some of my photos, right? Because we're taking all the photos, we're going to all these different places. Um, And, I'm like, "Oh god, my hair looks awful," and it's because 'cause I've got all this regrowth and because 'cause I've let myself go grey, so there's no melanin in the hair anymore, and so it makes your hair coarse and wiry kind of thing, and, so it's just like, what am I gonna do? Nothing I can do right now until I get it back to the way it was after all the hair loss, which is obviously clearly trying to do. That's okay. But I went for my first haircut. I just looked it down here where I wrote, tell you about my haircut. I had my first haircut, which is on the thumbnail, in Bangkok, just before we went to Penang last week. So my first haircut in 8 months. So my last one was in Perth just before we left. And I was just like, all right, it's time. I've got to go find finding a hairdresser, you know what it's like. So I was just like, right, just go to I went to a shopping centre called Times Square, which is where my waxing lady is. And I just walked in and said, "Oh, can you do a haircut?" And this lovely little lady, she's like, "Yes, yes, now." I'm like, "Sure." And she took me in, this lady, she's the lady in this thumbnail, and she washed my hair, best hair wash I've had ever, I think, in my life, in a laying down chair. And then she took me over to my hair cutting station. She dried my hair. And I'm like, oh, I am going to get a cut, right? She goes, yes, yes, yes. So I was like, okay, right, keep drying my hair, fine. And she didn't leave my side. Then this other lady who was the star of the hairdressing show with glitter and amazing, she was gorgeous. She comes across and I showed her a few pictures of how I wanted layers put back into my hair like I used to have. And she's like, she looked at all these and then she pulls up her phone and she goes, like this. And I went, exactly like that. Like hardly any English, but exactly got me straight away. Pulled up my dry hair. I think she cut about, I don't know, 5 or 6 times. That's it. Okay, you're done. She walked away, went off to the next customer. My little lady comes back and then blow dries it properly, puts curl in it and all the sort of things. And then the star comes back, the hairdresser comes back, and then she does a bit more zhuzhing with the blow dryer and some, serum or whatever. And then that was it. This cost 900 baht, which Australian dollars is, I did a conversion, $38 Australian, and American is 27 US dollars for all of this attention. One lady, and looked around the room, and there were other people. They all had their own little helper that was standing there. And because as the other lady was cutting my hair, the helper had the thing and was like, so that I didn't get any hair on me. It was insane. It was insane. In fact, the serum that they put on my hair was smelling so nice. I said to the girl, "Oh, how much is that?" And she said, "Oh, 600 baht." I said, "Oh, 60 baht." She said, "No, 600 baht." So the serum was almost as much as the haircut, and the blow dry and the shampoo and all that sort of thing. So that was crazy. Um, but best experience ever. So that was really cool. And I had been considering having a keratin treatment because of the frizz. And I asked the star hairdresser lady, how about keratin to soften the hair? She said, do you like to curl your hair? And I said, oh, yeah, I use the GHT. I curl it a bit. And she goes, no keratin. Flat, straight only. So I was like, oh, okay. So I'm not sure how I'd look with just flat, straight hair. We'll see how we go. But yeah, so that was just it was a really good experience, and I don't know why I put it off for 8 months before I, actually went and had a haircut, but I'm really glad I did, and, yeah, so I'm back to the vitamin D, so this Friday so Thursday, I have pre-op surgeries, which means I go in, they, they do an ECG, they do a chest X-ray, they take bloods, they check my thyroid, they do everything. They did far more before surgery here in Bangkok, certainly the people I go through, than they did with my arms in Australia. So I didn't have a pre-op with all these things. I did not have blood tests. I did not have an ECG. I did not have a chest X-ray. Nothing. So really interesting, right? So on Thursday, I will be having. I go to the hospital and I have all that done. And then on Friday, I come back and usually I check in. Going off last time, he operates in the afternoon, late afternoon, evening, my doctor, my surgeon. And so I'll be back there by lunchtime on Friday. And we'll have my surgery that day or that night. And then I'm in until I think it's Monday, just looking at my calendar, Monday ish for the breast lift and the side lift. So I may come to you live from the hospital bed next Sunday night. We'll see how I fare. We'll see how we go. So that's my week in a nutshell. Let me know if vitamin D is a thing for you. Get it in your blood tests. You should always have vitamin D because what a lot of people don't know is that vitamin D is actually a pro-hormone. It's actually also considered a hormone. It's not, I don't know why it's called a vitamin because it's actually more of a hormone. So it's really important that you know that that's part of your regular tests is getting your vitamin D checked. But pretty much, I think you can guarantee if you live a fairly indoor lifestyle, um, you can get yourself some vitamin D, I would say, and not have too many issues. But try and get the spray in olive oil. I don't know. I might go so looking see if there's one on iHerb, and if I can find one, I'll put it in the comments below. But that'll be tomorrow. Um, so yeah, if you're struggling to find one that's appropriate, I will. I should have pre-thought about that one. Sorry, just dropped the ball on that one. Um, but give it a go. Give it a go for like one whole bottle or one whole thing of capsules or whatever. See if you notice a difference, and I'd love for you to come back and tell me if it makes a difference for your hair. So, because this has been like quite mind blowing for me, and it's a good reminder that, you know, one vitamin can make the world a difference to symptoms that really bother us and that really affect our sense of self and our self confidence and that kind of thing. So, that's it for me this week. And I'm so glad that my sound worked. Yay for the new AirPods. I took away all the other devices that could possibly interfere. I still don't know why I had no sound, but that's okay. All right, everybody. Until you've got another video dropping this week, I can't even remember what it was, but that's okay. You got one on Wednesday, and then you might see me next Sunday night from the hospital bed. So, same time, 7 o'clock Thai time, and have a great week, everyone. Bye.